Okay, good evening, everybody. It is just about 8:30, so you can find your way to your seats here. We're going to get the meeting started. Welcome to Conscious Contact Speaker Group. My name is Brian, and I am an alcoholic. A reminder that the food and the fellowship for this group starts at 8 o'clock, so if you want to get here early, we always have coffee out at 8 o'clock, grab some refreshments, whatever you want to do. If you want to participate, help out with a little bit of service work, get involved with this group, also a great idea. We record all the speakers for this group, so if you ever want a copy of a CD from a speaker that you hear a message, you want to pass it along to somebody you think you could benefit from that, you can see me or Ron or any home group member before or after the meeting. We also have those recordings now available on a YouTube. That is a YouTube channel that is for the Conscious Contact Speaker Group. We also have recordings from the Monday night meeting in this room at 6 o'clock p.m. on Mondays. There's also a step speaker meeting. This group also has a sister group. It's up the street there on Thursday nights at Salem Church, 7:30. It's a big book meeting, big book discussion. That's about all I got for now. Eric's going to come up here. He's going to chair the meeting. Everybody have a good time tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Eric, and I'm an alcoholic. This is a one-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street at 8:30 p.m. in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Food and fellowship start at 8 p.m. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday at 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. right here. The purpose of the group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God-reliance and service to others through the practice and teaching of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers, if there is anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name. Yes. Hi, Stacy. Welcome. Hi, Melissa. Welcome. Hi, George. Welcome.
Nick, alcoholic.
Hi, Nick. Welcome.
Wade, alcoholic.
Hi, Wade. Welcome. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
I'm Jim. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Jim. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. Would anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purchase of big books and CDs to help those who can't afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD donations located in the back of the room. If you would like a CD of any speaker, past or present, see me or any home group member before or after the meeting. They are available free of charge. And at this time, I'm going to have Sherry come up and read the AA preamble.
Hi, I'm Sherry. I'm an alcoholic. The AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help others to achieve, other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. I have asked Lisa to come up and read the AA 12 Steps of Recovery.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa. I'm an alcoholic. These are the 12 steps of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. At this time, I'll turn the meeting back over to Eric.
There is absolutely no smoking on church property. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones and please limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. I think we should have some tradition. At this time, we're going to pass the baskets as well. And now, at this time, I'm going to introduce all the way a good friend of the Conscious Contact Speaker Group, all the way from New Jersey, the There Is a Solution group in New Jersey, Teri M.
Hi, everybody. My name is Teri, and I am an alcoholic. It's really great to be here. This thing just intimidates me. Not much does, but a microphone does. Go figure. My name is Teri. I'm an alcoholic. My name is Teri Morphew. I am not anonymous to my people. I'm only anonymous out there. And my sobriety date is July 13th, 2018. I just celebrated 3 years. And I got to tell you, 2 years ago, I was ashamed to tell you that because this isn't my first time in AA. I had 20 years and I had 13 years. And I got spiritually sick again. You know, that first step tells us that we're powerless over alcohol and our lives become unmanageable. That powerlessness was a threat in my life through my whole life. And I have this forgetter, this amnesia, that makes me forget who I am and allows me to believe the lies that this self-imposed crisis, you know, the big book talks about we were crushed by a self-imposed crisis. We were crushed by self as well. I didn't ask for self to destroy my life or my family or my children or to make me act out in ways that I did, but it happened. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about experience, strength, and hope, right? What got me here, what keeps me here, and why I love being here. I grew up in an alcoholic family. My father was a Philadelphia fireman, and he was a raging, violent alcoholic. My mother was a rageaholic, so there was a lot of violence in my house as a kid. We watched him attempt to murder her 4 different times, 5 to be exact, but, you know, who's counting? And I grew up in terror as a child. Never knew who was going to make it out alive, her or him or me. You know, we didn't know if that would be turned against us. And that did not cause my alcoholism. It might have exacerbated fear, but it didn't cause my alcoholism. I am who I am. I think I was born this way. I remember as a kid, you know, my first experience with God was at 5 years old. My parents sent us to this Bible school, vacation Bible school. It was a 2-week deal in July. All the kids in the neighborhood went. And I remember being in there and us having this picture of Jesus and made popsicle stick frames and learned the song, Jesus loves little children of the world, all are precious in His sight. And I remember feeling this outrageous love for this man, Jesus. And then I remember walking home, and in 5 minutes, I made a decision in my head at 5. He loves all the little children but you, because if he did, why'd he put you in this family and have to experience all this pain and fear and just insanity? And self-reliance kicked in at 5. I knew the adults weren't going to take care of me. God sure didn't want anything to do with me, because if he did, he loves everybody but me, right? And I always thought it was my religious upbringing that turned me against God. And doing these many 4 steps over the years, I found out it was self. I was crushed by that self-imposed crisis. Self-reliance failed me, and that little self made a decision as a little girl that God wasn't on my side. And so I went through grade school, had a lot of friends and a lot of secrets, right? Because you can't tell people what's going on at home. So I learned to make up these extravagant lies, and I got good at it, right? I could lie at the drop of a hat and make you believe it. And I thought everybody lived like that. So by the time I was like 12 years old, that man finally left our house with the help of me and my sister. And we wound up losing our house. And at 13, we had to move to Kensington. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Kensington. It's a bad stop, right? So here I am, Teresa Morphew, and I moved to this tough neighborhood in Kensington. And I became tough Turk, real quick, overnight. Now here's a kid who's scared of her own shadow. I don't think anybody likes me. I never fit in anywhere I go. I didn't know that my whole life I was looking to connect with you and connect with God. But I thought if I had enough friends, and if I fit in, and if you liked me, and if you validated who I was, I would be okay. But I'm this chronic malcontent, right? So no matter what you say about me, to me, for me, to make me feel a part of and fit in, I never do. I just don't. So here I am now, tough town in Kensington. I'm 13 years old, and my first best friend is Amy. And Amy's sister, Chris, was older than us, and she said, it's Friday night. I got a little pint of whiskey here for you girls. Go have a good time. And we were like scared, right? We're going to do this, right? And I remember where I was. I was on Reed Street, block from K&A. And we were down this little street. And I remember Amy took a hit and was like ready to vomit. I took a hit of that whiskey, and I could not get enough. I had my first spiritual experience. In that moment, I felt warm. I felt a part of. I felt connected to you. I felt connected to the universe. And I felt safe and protected. And I chased that feeling for the next 6 years. I was a blackout drinker from the time I was 14 till I was 18. I had these really good friends, believe it or not, these guys that lived on my street that were a little older than me, and they looked out for me. And every weekend they threw me in my mother's door, you know? I couldn't tell you where I was, who I was with, what I was doing, but all I could tell you was I had to get that next drink. And I lived for it. I went to school during the week, and I stayed drunk on the weekends. And by the time I was a senior in high school, it had gotten worse. I was at a party, and it was snowing out, and I had a fifth of Southern Comfort. I had made the big leagues now. And we were over at this park, and I drank that whole fifth. I might have been 98 pounds soaking wet. And I blacked out. We went to this kid's apartment at a party. I was dancing, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital. And the doctor said to me, "What are you doing to yourself, little girl?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I was at a party. I was having a good time. What happened?" he had to piece my head back together. I had 27 stitches. I had blacked out, went into a TV. I don't remember any of it. They had pumped my stomach, and back then they didn't have like alcohol levels like 3 point something. He just said to me, your blood levels, you had 98% alcohol in your bloodstream. Had you went to sleep and didn't fall and hurt yourself, you would have never woke up. And so I was convinced then that my shut-off switch was broken for alcohol. So what does any good alcohol do? I hooked up with the drug dealer on the corner, and he had just gotten out of St. Gabe's. He was a juvenile delinquent. He was in there for his whole high school years. I was 16 when I met him. He was 20. I lied to him and told him I was 17 or 18. And his trade was he robbed drugstores for a living. And so I was privy to a lot of that stuff. I would go to the dumpster and get the drugs and the gun, take it to my parents' house, hit my vodka, go meet him, because I was paralyzed once again with fear. It wasn't because I cared about anything else, but that man had now become my false god. He was going to take care of me. He was respected in the neighborhood. People didn't mess with him, and they didn't mess with anybody that was his family, and I was now his family. I think they used to call me his old broad. I was 16, right? That's how we spoke back then. Needless to say, I continued drinking like a fish, doing other non-alcohol approved substances, and by the time I was 20 years old, I was pregnant with his child, and he had gotten 16 of 24 years in prison. He had robbed a drugstore, gun went off, and it hit the pharmacist. Thank God he didn't die, but that man got 16 years in prison at the least. And here I am pregnant with his baby. And I would like to tell you that I stayed sober during my pregnancy. But see, for an alcoholic without a solution, who is looking for that sense of ease and comfort that doctor's opinion talks about, I can't stay sober, not for frothy emotional appeal substance devices, right? I can't do it for this unborn baby growing in me. I can't do it for my parents. I can't do it because I'm facing jail time because they had me as like an accomplice, which didn't happen. But, you know, that's how crazy and bad life got for me. So this baby is born, and I was drinking and doing other substances during my pregnancy. And I prayed every day that God kept this baby safe, because I didn't know what my illness was, what this malady consisted of. I didn't know that I have this thing that goes on in my brain. I have this obsession of the mind, right? And I have this bodily reaction. Once it gets in me, I can't get enough. One shot of vodka means 10 more shots, and I'm pregnant and I'm puking and I can't get enough. You know, more. And so I have this baby, and the baby's fine, thank God. And life didn't get better, you know. I had now lost my God. He's in prison. Now I'm not supposed to be putting anything in my body because my mother's threatening to take my baby away. And I can't stop drinking. And I got this good job, and I got this little house that I bought in Kensington, and I'm trying to do the right thing, right? They tell you, do the next right thing. Just don't pick up and go to meetings. Put your ass in a wheelbarrow and push it in the meeting if you have to. Guess what? If I could do that, I wouldn't need you people. I wouldn't need God, and I wouldn't need these 12 steps. I don't know this at the time. And I'm going to meetings, and I'm thinking, well, why am I not getting better? Meeting makers make meetings. That's it. without doing this work, yeah, it's essential that we go to meetings, meet the people, this fellowship will grow up among you. So I don't know any of this, and I don't know why I can't stop relapsing. And my mother once again threatened to take this little boy from me. And I thought, how dare you, right? Like I'm the better option. And so I went away and I did 30 days in this rehab. It was the first time I ever heard AA. And I was like, oh my God, this is like way cool. I never heard spiritual, God, abandon yourself completely, none of that. I just thought, I got to get out, read this book, and I'll be okay. I got out, I read the book, I went to one meeting. 5 days later, I bought a 6-pack of Heineken and did 2 Quaaludes. I don't know why. Just because I can't be okay in my sober skin without a solution. I'm irritable, restless, and discontent until I can at once feel that ease and comfort. And I don't have a dad, right? So it also tells us at certain times the alcoholic has no mental defense against that first drink. His defense must come from a higher power. Well, I'm godless, right? So where's it going to come from? It's not. So I keep on going to this meeting at St. Mary's in Kensington. And I hear this woman share, and she talked about herself and talked about how she never fit in, never felt good enough, never felt qualified in life, relationships not working, prey to misery and depression. And I'm like, oh my God, she told me about her and I learned about me. And she said, but that's not happening now. And I found a solution. And I went, oh, there's hope, right? Something, maybe I can get better. And she said, now I'm going to talk about God. And I went, oh no, I'm going to get left out of this deal too, right? Because God wants nothing to do with me. He doesn't even like me. But something in me made me chase this woman. And I chased her through the streets of Kensington, South Philly, the Northeast. We went everywhere. And everywhere I went, I met these people that just kept on telling me more about themselves. And I learned more about me. And they kept on telling me about this God, this loving, merciful, kind, gentle God that was available to me. And so, I thought, well, if it could work for them, maybe, just maybe, I've been wrong my whole life. And this woman took me through those 12 steps. And let me tell you, back then, there were no Joe and Charlie tapes. There was no 4-step guides. There was none of that going around. People barely talked about the 12 steps. Like, we're going back March 1984 when I first came in. This wasn't happening. I never even heard of this. And I was going to these little meetings and, where there was a lot of that, think, just don't drink. And I'm like, I wish I could just do that, Anyway, we ran into this group of guys who were big book thumpers back then. And let me tell you, they say half measures avail us nothing. None of us knew what we were doing. We read that big book. We tried to figure it out. We did the 4-step as best we could. We didn't know anything about character defects and, but we did the best, and our hearts were sincere, and I believe, making that 3rd step decision will carry you a long way. And so we did this version of the 12 steps, watered down as it was. It kept me okay for a long time. I wound up getting married, having a child, hooked up with a hostage in AA. Yep, I took one. And drove him to drink 2 years later. No, just kidding. He did that. And yeah, I was a piece of work. Like, I thought, still in my mind, it was kind of like, ask God to help you. He's the co-pilot. I'm still the pilot, though, right? I'm running the show. Self-reliance is still going full force. But I'm delusional. I'm not in denial. I'm delusional, and I really believe that I'm letting God run my life. Not. I did more crazy stuff in recovery than I care to admit, and I hurt a lot of people. So 2 years later, that marriage ends, and now I got 2 little kids at this point. I can't get sitters. I'm a single mom. I can't take them to meetings because there's curse words flying out the wazoo. And trust me, I got to sail them out. I am being on my best behavior tonight. And they were smoking in the meetings, and I'm like, I can't bring my babies. So I thought, all right, well, I got to stay on a spiritual path. So I went to church, and that carried me for a long time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think the inevitable probably needed to happen. I wound up meeting this other guy who's normal, great man, amazing man, right? He's a rock, he's solid, he's fair, he's principled, but he's not an AA, but he's a good man. And he fit all my requirements, you know? Looking for a provider, somebody that's going to validate me, make me feel good about who I am, tell me what a great mom I am, what a great wife I am. You know, he did all this. I thought that's what a husband was supposed to do, right? Make me happy. Wrong. Thank God he got left off the hook for that, but it took a little bit. Anyway, I'm in this marriage. I'm going to church. I got my kids, and I love church, and I'm still a good church member. But they don't get people like us, right? They don't know our brokenness, and they don't know how these heads work, right? I got this self-imposed crisis that is imposing itself on me once again. And even though I believe God is either everything or He's nothing, I'm still delusional. And I'm thinking I'm running a house, taking care of the kids, trying to be a good wife. It tells us in the big book that through work and self-sacrifice for others is the only thing that will carry us through these low spots, these trials and tribulations in life, right? Well, I'm like being this good mom, because you got to think I'm a good mom, so, and it's important to me what you think. I got to be a good wife, because he's got to know I'm a good wife, and so does everybody else, because it's important what you think. It was all for self. And I was going to church because I got to believe in something, but again, I come back to this self-reliance is running the show for a long time, and I'm delusional and don't even see it. I got diagnosed with hepatitis C and had to go on interferon, that bad kind. It's like a chemo, and hair falls out, you can't eat, you can't sleep. My mother's given 6 months to live. I got her with hospice at my house. I'm treating on this interferon, giving myself shots every week. Then I got no red blood cells. I got to put this other I was a mess. At the same time, my husband worked for this big company, and this guy used to make homemade wine, and he would give him gallons at Christmas, right in November, I guess. And he would get these little bottles and make them up and give them out to friends as Christmas gifts, because he's normal. He don't drink, though, because of me. He doesn't have to not, but he chose not to because of my lifestyle. That's what a great man he was. And anyway, all of a sudden, all the gallons of wine are missing. And I'm taking care of Mommy with hospice, and I'm thinking it's a good idea to water down the gallons of wine. Gave Mommy some morphine. I took some morphine, hit the line in the basement. My marriage is falling apart. My life is just in shambles. My mother died. I'm so sick from this interferon. The doctors had me on this medication, this antidepressant. I'm getting depressed and more depressed and more depressed. Finally, my husband said to me, you either got to go away and get help or we're done. And he threw his wedding band on the bed, and I said, like any good alcoholic would, we're done. And I left. And I went to my dead mother's house, She had passed away at this point, and I took 120 pills. I hid my car, locked the door, made sure no one was there, wrote letters to my kids. See, because when an alcoholic like me loses hope, I want to die, right? There's no, for us to drink is to die. And here I was drinking, hadn't drank in 20 years, and now I want to die. And I woke up 23 hours later, and the first thing out of my mouth was, God, you win. I didn't even know I was in a battle with God all these years, but I was in a struggle, you know? Self-reliance, God-reliance, self-reliance, God-reliance, and self-reliance won out, and here I was once again crushed by this self-imposed crisis. So when they picked me up at my mother's house after the suicide attempt, my son came to get my car, and when I left that house, when that man said the marriage is over, you get help or we're done, I left that house and I heard a rubber band go off in my head. I knew I had snapped. I lost my mind, and I knew I wasn't coming back. When they came to get the car to take it back to my house, when they put me in a psych ward because I was psychotic, I had license plate numbers written all on the roof of my car because that man, I swore in my mind, he had private investigators following me, and my goal was to find out who they were. And if I got 2 license plate numbers that matched, it was them. I had 25 written in the roof of my car. It was along the dashboard. I had it on my Honda book at the time. I mean, I really had lost my mind. So I'm in this psych ward, and this woman says to me, this counselor, I said, you know, I'll probably be here a long time, huh? Maybe. And she said, you're not crazy. You're just spiritually broken and you need to go back to AA. And I knew in my soul that was the truth, right? So I get out. When I get home, my husband at the time didn't want me back. As a matter of fact, I had a restraining order and I had to go to court for custody of my son. He was taking custody away. We had a 4-year-old little boy at the time. The other 2 were teenagers. And he said, you can come home until you get better. Well, we wound up working it out, and the restraining order just sat, never got removed for whatever reason. And we wound up working it out, and when I came home, there was a message from my friend Teri and he's like, group from my South Philly group, my Kensington group. He said, a bunch of us are over here in Jersey now. There's a solution group on Sunday night. You should come see us. Daddy didn't know what just happened. He didn't know about this relapse. See, this is how God shows up all the time in my life. And I have to tell you, I know contrary to what other people believe, I believe that once that 3rd step is taken, no matter what, God's got us, right? Whether we go off the rails, whether my will, his will, whatever that is, God's got me, right? And so I went and met them, got in with a bunch of people that were big book thumpers. I love big book thumpers. And I went back through this process. I got a home group. I made regular attendance. I was in service. I was speaking at detoxes. I was sponsoring women. I had a sponsor. She knew it. And this came first, right? It says we must abandon ourselves completely to this simple program. I was abandoned to this, and life got really good. My marriage kind of came back together. My kids were okay. And I would like to tell you that that's the end of the story. It's not. 13 years later, my marriage was falling apart. It never really recovered from that. And I never really could be honest with him. And he really couldn't be honest with me. There was a thing that was broken. And so I couldn't, here's me, self-reliance. Once again, I'm going to fix this marriage. We're going to go to counseling. We're going to do, it didn't work. I had to have a partial knee replacement. I got in a bad accident, and they had to take part of my knee out. And My 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid at the time was running around doing drugs with my grandson in the car. And I put her away twice. I can't get her better. I can't fix my marriage. I can't fix my physical. I went back to that 5-year-old version. He loves everybody but me. And I just bought into this bullshit you people were spouting. And I'm doomed. And before you know it, that line in the basement that was there again is gone. I don't even remember this. I went to Canals. My daughter, I hadn't drank in 13 years. 16 airplane bottles of lemon vodka. They found me in my car in a park in Haddonfield, New Jersey, which is money, right? You don't see people like doing that in Haddonfield, New Jersey. And this is how God works. They all blocked me in. Now my 16-year-old little boy and my 2 other children got to see me overdosing on alcohol and other non-approved AA substances. And I can't even walk, and I'm trying to drive away. They blocked me in. Just so happens doesn't a cop come by jogging. He's like, what's going on here? And I'm like, they won't let me leave. And he said, you can't even walk. Go with them. So here I am back to another facility, 45 days in Florida, because I'm going to get it all back, right? I'm going to do everything I can, pick myself up from the bootstraps, get back in AA. Dude, it's all for me. It's all self. Not because I'm broken and I'm hopeless. I think I got to do something still. Well, I come back 45 days later, and that poor man changed the locks, had a restraining order, and he said, your son's at your car. Your car is at your son's house. You're too painful. I can't do you anymore. And I say, oh, here we go, self. I did all this for nothing. Well, here you are, I'll show you. The next year and a half, I was in 12 facilities. Some long-term, some for a week. And I was okay when I was in them, as sober as I'll ever be, right? But jails, institutions are death. Put me in an institution, I can collaborate. Put me out in the world, I am not okay in my skin. I cannot connect with you. I have no God. And at this point, I've lost God's grace. I broke all the toys He gave me, and He gave me some beautiful, wonderful toys. Oh, we got an alert, sorry. He gave me some beautiful, wonderful toys, and I broke everything. So the book tells us once the spiritual malady is overcome, the physical and mental will follow, right? And I'm thinking, well, I'm doomed because I lost God's grace, never to get it back. I got a stay of execution more than once, and now I'm doomed. So I was in a really bad car accident, and I was loaded, and it was my fault. And the cops made me go to the hospital. My car was totaled. My wheels were going this way. It was real bad. And I was scared to death because I knew they took blood, and I knew that they would know everything that was in my system. And see, for me, I'll drink it, ingest it, snort it, smoke it. It doesn't matter. I'll do it all. Because I don't care. I just want to die. And so I snuck out of the hospital before they found out what was in my system. And I walked around for a week with broken clavicles on both sides, broken ribs on both sides, and my lung was collapsing. And I couldn't tell anybody and I couldn't go to the hospital because then you would know, and my friends from AA would know, and my kids would come and see me, and I'm so ashamed of who I am, and I lost God's grace and I'll never get it back, so I just wanted to die. So I just stayed inebriated to not feel. One of my friend's mothers took me to Cooper Hospital, and my boys came, and I said I signed a DNR, and they're like, you did what? And I'm like, signed a DNR. And they looked at me. Now here's these kids who watched me go in and out of facilities for a year and a half. that were raised in a 12-step household with 12-step people surrounding them. And here they are, standing at my bedside, after watching me go through this for a year and a half, and I can't get back, not for you, not for me, not for them. And I saw the look of like anger on their face when, I said I signed with DNR, and then I saw that look of resignation. I'm too painful. I'm too painful to be around. Needless to say, my lung fully collapsed. I started drowning. They intubated me. I was in a coma. I remember before they put the tube down my throat, the doctor said, Teresa, I gotta tell you, you got a 1 to 3% chance of making it. Your blood work just came back. You were so septic. We don't think you're gonna survive this. So please call up everything in you, because you're not gonna make it. And all I thought in my head was, yes, finally I can go. I lost God's grace. I can't get it back. I'm too sick. I'm so broken, and I don't believe in anything anymore. And so I was intubated in a coma for 2 months. I was in the hospital for 5. I had to learn how to walk all over again. I had to learn how to swallow. Like, your muscles just atrophy. When they took that tube out, I had to eat applesauce and pudding for a week because my muscles forgot what they were supposed to do. My girlfriend told me I had 17 tubes coming out of my body. The doctors came. My liver was so shot at this point. I looked like I was 10 months pregnant. They had to take 6 liters of fluid off my stomach every 6 weeks. I had to go into a physical therapy rehab for 3 months to learn how to walk again, to get this sepsis under control. And they didn't know if I was going to recover. And I didn't care. I was hoping I didn't. And something happens, I get out of that, and somehow I wind up making a call to these rooms because I'm going to kill myself again, because I have no God. I'm powerless. I'm broken. Everybody's afraid of me. And that boy, my kids, that little boy that I originally wanted to get help for because he deserved better, was in my face when I was intubated saying, Mom, do it for me. You did it once for me. Please do it again. And I said, I couldn't talk because I had a tube, and all I thought was, I can't do it for you. I lost God's grace, and life isn't worth living, right? I wind up going away to California through a series of events, and I was there for 5 months. I was on 26 pills a day. I still couldn't walk right. I still couldn't breathe right. My liver, I was supposed to go on a transplant list. I went out to see all these specialists out there. So they do tests. The liver doctor, I go to see him, and he said, what have you been doing? And I said, well, I'm institutionalized. I said, I'm doing AA, I'm in a program, trying to believe in a God. Trying to get some connection here. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but you don't have to go on the transplant list. Your numbers are fine. Go live your life. I'll see you in a year. And I thought, I got his grace back, right? That God never takes his grace from us. We just turn from God. And so I came home 5 months later, and I got a sponsor. And it was actually a woman that I kind of mentored throughout the years, and she took me back through this work. Those first, that steps 1 and 2 are conclusions, right? There's no instructions on how to do them, but there's a whole lot of explanation about what they are, right? That we're agnostic or atheist. I was an agnostic. I knew there was a God, but I didn't think he wanted anything to do with me. I knew I was powerless and broken. Here I am, 52 years old. I'm in a recovery house with a lot of young girls who were doing a lot of boys from Camden who were still on our TVs. And you know what? It didn't matter. I would have done anything that it took to get God's grace back. And what I found out was there was nothing I had to do. I already had it. I just had to get in alignment with it. do the work and do this deal. So I did this third step, and it tells us, I offer myself, I'm sorry, God, do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, this self-imposed crisis, right? This selfishness, this self-centeredness, this total self-absorption, so that I may do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them will bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. Not so that my life gets better, so that I can be of maximum service to you and your kids, right? That's what this is about. That fourth step showed me these causes and conditions, right? The roles I assign to you, and when you don't live up to them, I get pissed off at you. And it eats me alive, and it destroys beautiful relationships. The damage I did to my kids, that man who wouldn't let me back in that house literally took everything down off the wall and packed up everything that I ever owned or hung on the wall in that house, because he could not have one reminder of me, the pain that I caused that man. And I was pissed off at him for changing the locks. How dare he, right? I got to see my part, and the truth is, it's all about my part. It's my mistakes, right? We're not looking at them anymore. Now I'm looking at my mistake. Where am I selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid? And the bottom line is, I am afraid that I won't keep something I want, or I won't get something I think I need. And they're my fears. They came off this four-step list, and these defects of character, this lying and judgment and dishonesty, and I'm never good enough, and I'll never fit in, I'll never get God's grace back. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. But I act out of them as if they're reality, and I live my life like that, and I hurt everybody I love. That fifth step I did, admitted to myself, to God, and another human being, the exact nature of my wrongs. My sponsor actually put an empty chair in that room, and said, God's here with us. And I gotta tell you, people who know me know, I'm a visual person. I absolutely need that. I actually felt God in that room. Because my delusional self thinks I'm keeping things from God, right? They don't know. I'm so ridiculous. And so I did that, and I got home, and I took that book, and I went through those first 5 proposals, making sure my foundation is in place. And I gotta tell you, I could not look the world in the eye, did not feel perfect peace and ease, and did not feel the nearness of my Creator. I was sick. I was so sick inside about the relationships I destroyed, the harm that I caused. And I knew the amends were coming up, but I didn't think I could ever make any of this right? 6 and 7 was willing to have God remove these defects of character. Boy, that was tough. It's 2 short paragraphs, and they're the biggest thing ever, right? I don't know that I want God to remove some of these things from me, because they were survival mechanisms. Self-reliance served me for a long time. You mean I gotta let go of all of this? And as much damage and destruction as I caused, I struggled for a couple of days. I called my friend Teri once again, because he's like my person, and I'm like, dude, I missed something here. I missed it. I don't feel this. He goes, I don't know what to tell you. Open that book. And didn't I open it to perhaps there is a better way? We're now in the process of trusting infinite God rather than our finite selves. We're in the world to play the role that He assigns, doing only as we think He would have us be, and humbly relying on Him. Are we able to match calamity with serenity? And it was like a light bulb. God spoke right to my heart, and those words have been in my heart since that day. I didn't sit down and memorize them. They were emblazoned on my soul. I made that 8-step list, and that 8-step list sets me free. The 9-step list, the 9th step, and then sets the other person free. And so I made that list, and I went out making amends, and of course my kids were like, oh, Mommy, we're just glad you're okay. That ex-husband still will not talk to me, will not allow me to make amends, and I understand that. I made a lot of financial amends. I'm still making financial amends to him, and I probably will for the rest of my life, but I make that check out every month with a smile on my face. It's the least I could do, right? Because I can never repair the harm. And I made a lot of amends to the people in AA and previous sponsors in my home group, and them coming to see me and watch me die on a regular basis for months, and the pain and anguish that caused them, and what I took from their life as a result of that 10th step. It says, now we grow in understanding and effectiveness. That's what this 10th step is about. So now I have this spot check right all throughout the day, and I'm looking for those 4 things. Where am I selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid? When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them, and trust me, I am flawed out the wazoo. They still crop up. I am still selfish and self-centered. And so when these crop up, I ask God at once to remove them. If I harm somebody, I go to that person, right? And I eat crow. And what's beautiful is it causes beautiful relationships to come as a result of it. Now people trust me for some reason, which is weird. And sometimes I gotta talk about it with another person. I text my sponsor more than once a week saying, guess what I did? See, I got these 2 defaults. I'm either unqualified or do you have any idea who you're talking to, right? They're my 2 defaults. So I text her one day, I'm like, this woman's driving me crazy. She's 30 years old, I've been doing this job longer than she's been alive. Who does she think she is? And in the next sentence, it was like, I am so ridiculous. Is that serving God and his kids, right? And my next job here is to grow an understanding of God to be effective for his kids. That's not effective. So I eat crow. I keep my mouth shut. I don't say what Tough Ter wants to say because she comes out, And I practice this deal like my ass is on fire because it is. It is. I'm a chronic relapser. I've been one. I'm not today. I've been one. And I know what I have to do this thing called alcoholism. It's like a computer in my brain with a tab open at all times. It's waiting. My friend says it's out in the parking lot doing push-ups and getting stronger. Truth be told, that's the truth. I've experienced the progression of this illness, and trust me. So now I'm emptying in this 10th step, right? It's empty, empty, empty. These are my defects, blah, blah, blah. Now, my next is the 11th step. So after prayer, meditation, and improve this conscious contact with God. This is where I get filled, right? I admit to God all these things in that 11th step review at the end of the day. In the morning, I get up and I fill up, right? I pray, I meditate, and it's different every day. It's kind of like a marriage, It gets boring if you do the same thing on date night every Friday night. So you want to switch it up to make it exciting or give you something to look forward to. My relationship with God is no different than my relationship with man. I got to switch it up. I got to make it exciting. I got to do something different. Sometimes I meditate through songs. Sometimes it's guided. Sometimes it's just quiet, and most times it looks like this. Good morning, God. Who do you want me to be today? What do you want me to see about me that I'm not aware of, that gets in the way of my usefulness to you? How do you want me to serve your kids? How do I grow closer to you? Help me to understand your way more than what's important to me. And so that's what it looks like. And then this 12th step is an emptying. So I empty, I fill, and I empty. I practice these. Our next, how do you have a spiritual awakening through all these steps? We try to carry this message to other alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. That means at work, that means in my relationships, that means everywhere I go. That means being of service. When someone in AA asks me to speak, I hate doing this. My stomach is sick all day. My ego's all messed up. Self is on me. I don't want to do this. I don't want you to know how broken I am. But God said, go show them your brokenness and show them how huge, loving, and merciful I am. You know, in this last year, my 3 kids who are 36, 32, and 21 have had huge upsets in their lives, and they've come to me. My little boy, my 21-year-old, said, Mom, I got something come up. Can you pray for me? I know God listens to you. And I went, no, you know what, though? How about we pray together? And he just called me a few weeks ago. He goes, Mom, ever since then I've been praying every night. You know what? God hears me, and he even answers me. If that's all I get to do, then that's enough. My oldest boy is probably one of us, I don't know, difficulties all over the place. He calls me and says, Mom, I need you to pray with me. My daughter's got a year clean. She overdosed a year ago, lost her little girl, and I couldn't step in and fix it because I played God in these kids' life my whole life, and it almost killed me, right? 1st of June, she got her baby back. She's got a year clean. She got her little girl back. And, you know, and I get to watch miracles happen. I get front row seats in these little things in my kid's life, in my friend's life. You know, my sister and brother are not one of us, but I'll tell you what, I hit the lotto when I pulled the lucky number out of that jackpot in the family of, because I get to practice this, I get to grow closer to God and to you. And when I'm connected to God, I'm connected to you. When I'm connected to you, I'm connected to God. And I don't need an outside substance to validate me. I know I'm His beloved. And, you know, I hear women say all the time, I don't know how to love myself. It's like outrageously love God. Let God outrageously love you. What's not to love about that, right? Thank you so much for letting me come out here to speak.
Okay. Terry, thank you so much for coming to our group tonight and sharing just an awesome message of hope and recovery with us. A couple of quick announcements and we'll get out of here. There's always a meeting after the meeting, right? So if you're new or if you're out there struggling or, you know, you just want to get involved, chat with somebody, grab someone after the meeting. There'll be a group of us hanging out, breaking down the meeting. If you want to help out with some service work, that's always appreciated too. You can use help always putting away the chairs or doing whatever you want to help us out with, break down. You know, there's a lot of moving parts to this meeting. It is customary for us to thank our speakers personally. They come here on their own time and expense to share a message with us, so we usually form a line and thank our speakers personally. Let's give one more round of applause to Terry. And if you do care to join us, we have a nice way of closing. And as always, we will close with a brief moment of silence for the still sick and suffering alcoholic, followed by the Lord's Prayer. Our Father.
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
that should be off now.
Who's asking? I'm just joking. Yes, I am.
I'm friends with Lisa, Gary, and Tina. Serve at your wedding. I said, don't worry, girl, I'll get that whole thing locked
Oh, that's so great.
I'm so excited.
I think I just missed meeting you. We were in by the Warren Penn Inn, there's a church,
Oh, okay.
and I think we met your husband.
Chuck, yeah.
Yeah. Or I met him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot. You know, it's like it's so much, you just forget. But
Yeah, I think you were in one meeting, he was in the other.
Well, I wouldn't know, but I saw Ron tagged you in a picture of Tina,
Yeah.
and I saw you next to Eric, so I just had to say
Today is her. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, she's at.
It's gonna be
She's on her way back from her bachelorette party. She was down at the shore all day, and she has her Doylestown there. Taking good pictures and everything like that. Yes, September 4th. Yes, that's and thank you so much. That's
and then I called, and she's like, oh, I'm going to give you money. I don't want it for nothing. I just
no, I paid.
you know what, it's just stickers, cover. It's like here in this see the miracles.
I'll be working this week, probably.
The program works.
I guess. I mean, dude, this place pretty much said stuff. I'm going to be leaving, so we'll say I'm going to go out there for a little while.
And then I came here.
I know the smart thing is to stay there, try to finish out, get the reimbursement for my summer because I'm pretty much work right up until I leave, but we'll see if that actually happens. This week was awesome. That's my sister's birthday, so I took like I said, Wednesday and Thursday off, and my sister got me night, so I spent this whole last week with my sister and niece and nephew, which was just like awesome.
I'm looking forward to your assistance. We really appreciate it too because
down here.
we were just looking.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be very
Great, yeah.
Like on and streaming that.
Yeah, we gotta at least catch up for, grab something to eat or hang out or you do whatever.
It's perfect because I'm like, alcoholic, so I need something to do, right? There are all the times where I get in trouble. So
That's great.
Great. All right, Eric.
It's a pleasure meeting you. Yeah, thank you.
Not bad. Oh, really? She's involved with your wedding?
Yeah, she told me she was good.
That's crazy. That's so cool. That's awesome.
This thing, where is the, oh, there it is. Oh, for some reason,
it picks up and you skip over it. Yeah. Well, you see it. I see what you mean because it goes like preamble steps and then you see like traditions. You know what I mean?
And like I go up and I'm like, wait, what? And then I just see that.
It is kind of confusing. It could be better. It could be better color coded.
This
you know what I
thing
mean?
made me think. Well, I confused that with that, and I don't have time to sit here and eat. So I was like, there's absolutely.
Dude,
I stepped up and said, there's absolutely.
It's all right. You're getting better with it. Because the thing is, like, people get hung up if they like miss something or they mispronounce something, and then like they'll just like lose their pace. You just gotta like roll with it. You know what I mean? That's just like what happens for me. Like if I miss something or I mispronounce, you just gotta keep rolling with it. You know what I mean?
Oh wow,
That's good stuff, though, man. All right, she was
Are we putting the poinsettias in Ron's trunk?
what's that?
Are we putting these in Ron's
Yeah, I don't know.
We should stick one in there just for
Awesome.
put it like in his passenger seat.
I can't. I count. I struggle with like. I guess you would call it like OCD type stuff. But I always count every week. I come here. I count 6 and 7, and there's 7 white and 6 red. You know, and it just like throws me off because it's not symmetrical, and I'm like, the way my brain works is so It's a gift and a curse. Matt and stuff.
They're staying up.
No, they're coming back.
Need help?
This goes. I don't know. They have.
Have those. Let me go see if I can. Not bad, not bad.
Stuff, Andrew. You can you got a choice. You can either read the message or carry the message. Which one you want to take? What does?
Be the messenger or carry?
No, I said you could either be the message or carry
Oh, I forgot to stop this one. I thought I hit stop on it.
Hit the black square right in the middle.
I did. I think I forgot to stop this one.
don't
I thought
worry.
I hit it, but this one should be good.
That's why we have two, because it gets fused up.
Yeah.
Leave a bag.
They're doing that box. What's on the shelf? See a box, a brown box on the shelf? Over here, look the other way. See that brown box?